That little tube of Desitin in your diaper bag costs about $7 for 4 ounces, roughly $1.75 per ounce. Its star ingredient is zinc oxide, the only part of that formula actually treating the rash. Zinc oxide powder you can buy in bulk for pennies per ounce. Everything wrapped around it, the petroleum, the mineral oil, the BHA, is carrier, filler, and preservative. Today you're going to make 2 recipes that strip all of that out, keep the zinc oxide, and add back what your great-grandmother used on baby bumps for generations before Desitin existed. $2 a batch, no petroleum products, no BHA. And they work better for a reason. She understood that the label has never once told you. There are 2 recipes. You will know which one to use based on which rash you are looking at. Stay with me, because that distinction alone is worth more than the cream. Start with what diaper rash actually is, because the mechanism explains everything. A baby's skin inside a diaper faces 3 simultaneous attacks. Moisture from urine and stool sits against the skin and begins breaking down its natural barrier. The ammonia released as urine decomposes is chemically similar to a mild acid burn. It is literally degrading the outer skin layer with every hour of contact. Friction from the diaper then rubs that softened, weakened skin against a soaked surface with every movement the baby makes. Diaper rash is not just irritation. It is a small chemical fire in a warm, wet, enclosed space. The fix requires a cream that does 3 specific things simultaneously: absorbs excess moisture, neutralizes the chemical attack at the surface, and rebuilds the barrier without trapping heat and bacteria underneath it. Most commercial creams attempt only the third, and not cleanly. Here's the part the label does not tell you. Petroleum jelly, the same product family as motor oil at its source, is fully occlusive. It forms a physical seal. It does not let moisture through. It does not let heat through. It does not breathe. So when you apply it over a diaper area that is already warm and beginning to inflame, you are sealing all of that heat in. If any bacterial activity is starting under that layer, the barrier locks it in place and gives it exactly what it wants: darkness, warmth, and moisture. The zinc oxide is doing the actual therapeutic work: anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antifungal. The petroleum is just the carrier. And it was chosen as the carrier because it was cheap, stable, and already in industrial supply chains when Desitin launched in 1923. That was an industrial convenience decision made a century ago. It has not been reconsidered since. Then there is BHA, butylated hydroxyanisole, the preservative in Desitin maximum strength. The Environmental Working Group rates it a 9 out of 10 on their hazard scale. 9, flagging it as a possible carcinogen and a potential endocrine disruptor. You are applying that compound to the most chemically permeable patch of your baby's skin under an occlusive petroleum seal multiple times every day. Boudreaux's butt paste, $8 to $9 for a small jar, contains parabens and mineral oil. These products are not useless. The zinc oxide does work. But when your preservative scores a 9 on a 10-point hazard scale and goes directly onto skin with virtually no chemical barrier between it and the bloodstream, the zinc oxide is not the problem. Everything wrapped around it is. Now here is what your great-grandmother knew. Before 1923, before Desitin existed, babies had clean bums. She did not have petroleum. She had lard or tallow rendered from beef fat mixed with a dusting of arrowroot or cornstarch. That combination does every single thing the modern cream attempts without a single petroleum derivative. Tallow from grass-fed beef contains fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K that integrate directly into infant skin at the cellular level. Its fatty acid profile is so close to the skin's own sebum that it does not just sit on top of the barrier. It participates in rebuilding it from underneath. Coconut oil is naturally antifungal. Its primary fatty acid, lauric acid, is a documented inhibitor of Candida albicans, the yeast behind roughly half of all persistent, recurring diaper rashes. She did not know the molecular biology. She knew what cleared a rash overnight and kept it gone. Recipe 1 is your everyday general barrier cream. For a standard friction or ammonia rash, you need a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, 2 tablespoons of shea butter, 2 tablespoons of non-nano zinc oxide powder, 1 tablespoon of arrowroot powder, and 1 teaspoon of beeswax pastilles. Melt the beeswax into the coconut oil and shea over a bowl of warm water, not direct to heat, which damages the shea. Once fully melted, let the mixture cool 5 minutes off the heat, then stir in the zinc oxide and arrowroot until completely smooth with no dry clumps. Pour into a small glass jar and let it set at room temperature for 1 hour. The beeswax creates the waterproof layer that holds moisture out. The zinc oxide treats the surface and prevents recurrence. The coconut oil targets surface bacteria and fungal activity. The arrowroot absorbs moisture without feeding anything you do not want growing. The whole batch costs under $2 and makes more product than a full tube of Desitin. Now, cornstarch. Most DIY baby cream recipes mention it, and almost none of them tell you when not to use it. Cornstarch absorbs moisture and reduces friction. That is real, and exactly why your great-grandmother reached for it. But cornstarch is a starch, and starch breaks down into sugars. If the rash you're looking at is yeast-driven, shiny, bright red, clearly defined edges, not responding to regular cream after 2 or 3 days, then adding cornstarch into that environment is feeding the infection. Candida can metabolize glucose. You are handing it a food source under a warm, sealed layer. That is why recipe 1 uses arrowroot instead. Same moisture absorption, no glucose substrate. And if you're already dealing with a confirmed yeast rash, go straight to recipe 2 and skip all starch entirely. Recipe 2 is the Ancestral formula rebuilt specifically for yeast or reactive skin. No starch, no filler, no petroleum. 3 tablespoons of grass-fed beef tallow, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, 1 tablespoon of non-nano zinc oxide powder. Melt the tallow gently over warm water until just liquid. Stir in the coconut oil. Let the mixture cool to barely warm, still pourable but not steaming. Then stir in the zinc oxide until completely smooth. Pour into a glass jar and let it set. 3 ingredients. The tallow delivers vitamins A, D, E, and K directly to inflamed, broken skin and begins the repair process at the barrier level. The lauric acid in the coconut oil attacks candida on contact. The zinc oxide forms the protective layer over the top. Nothing for yeast to feed on. Nothing petroleum derived. Nothing rated a 9 on any hazard scale. This is the formula your great-grandmother kept in a small crock on the shelf. Rebuilt with the one active ingredient the doctor would also approve of. There is one more detail worth keeping. Your baby's skin microbiome, the community of beneficial bacteria on the surface, is still actively forming in the first 2 years of life. It is establishing the baseline that shapes immune response and barrier function for decades to come. Repeated daily application of fully occlusive petroleum to a major skin surface alters the oxygen and moisture environment that microbiome lives in. Nobody at Desitin has run a longitudinal study on what that does to an infant's developing skin, because there is no commercial incentive to fund that research. What your great-grandmother's recipe preserved almost accidentally was a skin surface that could breathe, one that kept doing what it was designed to do, without a century-old industrial workaround sitting on top of it. Add it up. A full batch of both creams costs $4 to $5 total and makes more product than 2 store tubes combined. A 4-ounce tube of Desitin maximum strength runs about $7. Boudreaux's is $8 to $9. At daily use over a full year, you are spending $60 to $80 on a petroleum carrier, a preservative rated 9 on a hazard scale, and a formula designed in 1923 for factory convenience. Your great-grandmother had a small jar of tallow, a box of arrowroot, and 0 recurring cream bills. The zinc oxide was the only part worth keeping. Now you know how to keep just that. If this one saves your baby some rash cycles and saves you some money, share it with a new parent who needs it. Hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.